I do work a lot, but thankfully this is my home office,
Oh,
so I'm here. Like if I need to go downstairs and be with family, I'm here.
yes.
So that, families become, and I say has become super important to me over time, because when I first got out of the Marine Corps and I was super into the business, my imagination said that I needed to do this business 24/7 in order for it to be successful. And over time you learn, right? And so now when I coach my clients, there's a really big coaching section that we go through that talks about time management and time valuement, right? And so time management being how you manage your time to have a successful business and still have a successful life.
Oh, yeah.
Time valuement is putting the things that bring tremendous value to your life at a high level, right? And so we spend significant time really digging this out, really understanding this, really tapping into the important things in our lives, right? And so that really has become a focus in my coaching, because if I can run 3 businesses and I can travel sometimes half the month and still find time to make it to my kids' volleyball games or read a book or hang out with my wife for date nights or like whatever, even impromptu. Like last night, my wife and I were like, hey, we need to sit down and talk a little bit about our businesses. And so we can kind of throw some stuff on the board, And I was like, so you want to just go out and do that, And unfortunately, I had a heart attack a week ago, so my wife was like, "No, we're gonna do it at home," But but normally, we make it a date night, even though sometimes we're talking about our businesses.
Yeah.
We make it a date night,
Yeah.
Kurz looking clean with his whole sales team. We ain't come to talk nonsense. It's all about the process and profits until we make $1 billion from deposits. He never slacked and teach him to take action. So far from whacking, never gave up his passion. Can't catch him lacking, damper down on his fashion. He forever stacking, running up all the cash in. Real estate mastermind. Check out his book, he gave us the blueprint. Really can't hate the grind. Put in the work, no making excuses. Quitting's a waste of time. You made it this far, don't make your life useless. Pull up and taste the wine. He got the flavor, mixing the juice.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Freedom Achiever Podcast. My name is David Adam Kurz. I am the CEO and founder of the Freedom Organization. We're a coaching and consulting company for real estate professionals, both on the real estate and mortgage side. Super excited to bring top-notch individuals all the time to the stage. And as you guys continue to enjoy this, I ask that you do a few things for me. One, I need you guys to subscribe. Wherever you guys are listening to this, I need you to subscribe. Please hit the subscribe on YouTube, hit the subscribe on Apple Play or Google Play or Apple Podcasts or, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this particular podcast. Go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, and share. That's all I need. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. If you could do that for me, I'd be forever grateful. Turns out that more than 60% of the people that are listening or watching this podcast do not register, do not subscribe. So I need you guys to subscribe. So that way, the next time we come to the table and bring you some solid information. And as usual, my job is to bring what I consider to be freedom achievers to the table to talk about anything, really getting away from the constant conversations we're having all the time in industry related podcasts. I want to bring you everything, and I want to talk about life, marriage. I want to talk about kids. I want to talk about location. I want to talk about, what made people who they are to be what they are. We all know they're superstars, but what made them a superstar? So today I have the awesome opportunity to bring a buddy of mine, Michael Rivera, up to the stage. Michael's a Boricua just like me. He was born and raised on the island. I was not. I apologize. I am a New Yorican. But man, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Man, thank you, David. Pleasure to be here. Thank you. It's an honor. I've been listening to the videos and watching your podcast and great content. So I'm privileged to be here today with you. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. So let's dive right into it. So some things that usually, and so the audience knows, usually before we begin a podcast, I like to speak to our guests for a little while, just like you would do at any interview station, and you said some really cool things to me that were enlightening, right? So born and raised in Puerto Rico, moved to Florida. Then now you're in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
You've been in Charlotte for 7 years. We talked a little bit about that experience. We'll dig into that more, which is super cool. You're a real estate agent, so you're servicing North and South Carolina within your distance range there. Because I know Charlotte's really close to the South Carolina line, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have an opportunity to service 2 states rather than, one. Like I'm in Miami. All I got is like, South Florida, bro. Like I can't get out of this. I can't get out of the dead end down here,
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about your current focus in life. We even talked a little bit about, you meeting your wife in the 10th grade. Like, so I got to talk about that right off the bat, because so many people out there are in, tough relationships. So many people out there are in relationships where they have a hard time finding someone who can support what they do on a daily basis, because we know that this is it's not the easy. Real estate is not an easy job. Like a lot of people glorify it to be like something that you can just do and make so much money and everybody's rich. And when the truth is that the average salary across the United States is just over $50,000 a year for a real estate agent. So to be a top producer, it's a whole different game,
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about that. Met your wife in the 10th grade. Tell me that story, bro.
So we met in 10th grade, but we didn't get together until we were like 27 years,
What?
So, yeah. So it's funny because I remember that when I saw her in school, I liked her a lot. I was like, oh, this is a really cute girl. I like her. But I was with somebody. She had her boyfriend, high school, puppy love, whatever. And then years passed, man. We never really connected throughout many, many years. I remember like when I was around 26, 27, I found, I was in MySpace. Remember MySpace?
Yeah.
So I was in MySpace, and in MySpace, if you remember, you could put your top 8 friends, right?
Yeah.
So I was promoting my music. I was at that time in Miami recording my first album. And then I was uploading some of the tracks to MySpace, and I saw her on one of our mutual friends, top friends. Like she was like, I'm like, oh my God, look at this girl, look at Waleska here. So I connected with her through there, and then I started back and forth messaging each other. And I remember I told the studio producer, you know what? I'm going to Puerto Rico like in 6 months to promote this music. And when I go there, I'm gonna have a girlfriend. So and that's it. When I went to the island, I called her, hey, I'm here, let's connect. And we went out one day. Since that day, we've been together, man. It's been it's gonna be 15 years now. So
wow, that's pretty wild, man. All right, so talk to me about this, because this gets even deeper. You had a wife you've been together with for 15 years,
correct?
Who has been with you through some roller coasters, I'm sure.
Oh,
yeah. Well, you just said music business, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna get good, bro. So talk to me about music business. First of all, like what were you recording? What was your music? Tell us a little bit about your music history, man.
So music has been a very important part of my life since I was a little kid. I mean, when I found the keyboard for the first time, a little toy keyboard that I got for Christmas or a birthday, I don't remember now, and I started playing that, man, automatically it was like a deep connection with the music, with the notes. After that, I wanted a drum set. A few years later, started playing drums every day, and I just got, really involved to learn instruments. Then I wanted a guitar, started playing with the guitar, started messing with it, everything self-taught. And I think around 16, 17 years old, I started like writing what I was feeling and, combining that with the melody I was making and making songs, So I always had a dream like, man, I want to record one day. I want to really go to a studio one day. And then I found this school, SAE, Sound Audio Engineering, in Miami, actually. That's where I went to school to get my technology diploma for sound audio engineering and music production. There, the opportunity comes with one of my teachers. He's John D. Thomas, 2-time Grammy winner. And we connected really well. I mean, I loved going to his class. He taught us how to do live stage and how to set up the stage and connect the instruments and, work with the board. And I told him, hey, I want to one day record. I know you have a studio. He's like, hey, when you're ready, you call me and we'll set up the time and we'll make it happen. So then I presented this idea to one of my friends. Recording is a lot of money. I did it on 2007. So he's like, hey, man, let's do this. Let's work it together. So we went into the business to record the album together. I called John D. Thomas. He's like, hey, I'm going to book this time for you. Come here. We flew to Miami, man. We stayed there for like 6 months, recorded with great musicians that have worked with great artists. It was an honor to be in the same room with John D. Thomas, doing my album. And we did like 16 tracks. And man, it sounded great. I love it. I think it's that one right there that we see back there.
Nice.
Amor, Paz y la Sangre Derramada, English, Spanish. This album had everything that I was feeling. It has love story, it has anger, it has peace, it has God. So all combined in different, music genre. Because, we come from Puerto Rico. You got merengue, you got hip hop, you got reggaeton, you got reggae, great influence from Jamaica. I mean, and all those things combined, I put it in that album. So it was a great experience and I loved it, man. Music it's my escape, it's my therapy. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what genre of music was it? So
the album some reggae songs. It has some pop rock. It has some rock ballad. It has a little bit of a cumbia and reggaeton infused, but not like the reggaeton we hear.
We hear today, yeah.
Live instruments. So really, really good flavor. Really good. Makes you dance. Some of the songs. So. Some songs I just like to listen to the story. So I love it, man. I was very proud for that album.
And how long were you in the real estate in the music industry?
I would say from 2007 for like 5 years, like really pursuing that, like 100% seriously, like trying to get a record deal and getting managers and doing the tour and presenting. Then, I had the decision and this like mental clarity that it wasn't going to work, because going back to marriage, music is very time consuming. You got to be out a lot if you really want to make it. And
right.
I was bringing a lot of hardship and problems at home. So right. it was very tough, and with that came a lot of the partying, promoting,
you have no choice.
Long hours. Staying out, not going back home. So it was a challenge, like you said, a roller coaster. So
yeah,
not easy. I mean, that's why
I was asking a little bit about that, because when you're in the music industry, you almost have no choice, especially in the beginning, right? Like once you make it, you got a choice,
Yes.
But when you're trying to make it, you have no choice but to be at these events around the right people who could potentially give you your next break, Exactly. And break the next glass ceiling for you, Yeah. And so how did your wife take all this?
Ooh, wasn't easy, man. I mean, like you said, a roller coaster. I mean, God bless her heart. I mean, it was not easy. I had a dream. When I went to Puerto Rico, I wasn't planning on really getting married or starting a relationship with somebody. My goal was going to promote my album. My goal was to connect with other musicians and other promoters, but I fell in love. We fell in love, and 6 months later, she was pregnant. So that changed the whole dynamic of everything. So yeah. I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision. God put in my heart really clearly one day. I remember like it was yesterday. You're gonna be very successful in music, or you're going to be very successful as a father, as a husband, and a family man. You can't have both, So that was very clear.
That's not an easy decision to make.
No.
Because, and look, I might get a lot of heat for this one, because they're going to be like, what do you mean it's not an easy decision to make? Poor wife, but when you're, when you have a great wife, and a family forming from that relationship, and that's not something you've like always dreamed of. It happened. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's incredible. You don't want to let that go. And then in the other hand, you have everything you've ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
You know, and I that has to be a very difficult choice to say, you know what? Because listen, you know, God bless you, bro. You chose your wife and your family.
Yeah.
We know for 100% fact there are musicians that chose their career.
Yep.
You know, and their mentality was, if you can't deal with it, then you're not the right person for me, because this is my dream, right?
Yeah.
And your dream shifted in a sense. Your dream kind of became, you know, okay, this is great. This is everything I've ever dreamed of. However, this is also amazing. And by the way, brings me a higher quality of life, you know, in you know, because I can already tell just by the way you speak about your wife, and you know, it's very similar to the way I talk about my wife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife raises my quality of life, you know, and so I know that you more than likely feel the same way. And more, like, do you regret that decision? Let me ask you that.
No, man, not at all. Like you said at the beginning, it was a struggle, because it's like, you have this going for you. You know, it's happening, it's going step by step, it's growing. Then, you know, you have to make a choice, honestly. And I mean, it was clear to me, like, music is something that it's in me, and I knew that God was going to show me a way to do it without we still keeping, you know, my family intact, and being a present father. My main thing was, I need to be a present husband and a present father. You know,
Right.
I need
Right.
to be there for my family. God showed me the way. You know, show me the way. I was asking to how to do this. You know, I've always been very spiritual and connected with God, and you know, I just changed the whole theme, the whole inspiration. Now, instead of like my own uh, the things that I lived and the things that I was going on, or going through, it became a family thing, you know?
Yeah.
So that was my inspiration, God and family. So I started writing songs about how I felt as a father, how I felt as a husband, how I felt, you know, towards God, and gratefulness. So I started getting involved with church, and still, you know, I joined the worship team. So I still was doing music, you know, I was not on the clubs. I was not on that atmosphere. I was in a safer atmosphere, doing what I love, and actually, you know, coming from contribution, you know, doing something beautiful, you know,
That's
participating in
amazing.
church with the worship teams. I got invited to so many marriage retreats, you know, with my guitar, and I was, you know, worshiping there, and seeing men, seeing women crying, you know, and it's a beautiful experience, you know. Instead of people jumping and drinking and all that, it was literally people like really paying attention to what you have to say. So it is totally
It's a different, completely different sentiment, but
Yes.
you still get to do what you love, which is music.
Yes.
You know, that's pretty incredible, man. And so now you go through some shifts, obviously. So we talked a little bit about that. You were in hospitality, you know, obviously that hospitality is easy to do when you transition from music, right? Because it's still kind of in that world, you know, and then you move into restaurant ownership.
Yes.
And so your restaurant, because I have this dream I'm going to share with you that I rarely talk about. And I rarely talk about it because it's not one of my success dreams. It's more of one of my I'm going to say lujo dreams. You know, they're like the ones we
bucket list that you want to do.
Yeah, it's like a little pocket list thing that I kind of want to do. And so I want to own a one day, but I don't want to own a lounge when I require that lounge to be my bread and butter.
Got it.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to open a lounge and like all my energy go to that, and that's how I pay my mortgage. No, I want to open a lounge, and whether it does well or not is irrelevant. I just want to own the lounge, right? And so for me, it would be where the lounge is kind of has a part for cigar smokers, has a part for non-cigar smokers, has whiskey specialties and tequila specialties, you know, and we serve small foods.
Yeah.
And the dream is so real that I'm not even sure where I want to open this lounge, because if we stay in Miami, which is where I currently live, and I retire here and my kids stay here and I have grandkids here, then we'll be here. And so I'll do the lounge here. But there's also Puerto Rico, right? To have like a really cool lounge in Puerto Rico that, like, you know, plays salsa music and stuff in the background and, you know, easy going. And so, you know, I think about these things, but for me, it's more of a thing that I just want to go to and enjoy and serve people and, you know, serve drinks and super chill, high couches, you know, sit with people, talk with people, enjoy people. Like, I feel like when the day comes that I stop doing all this, when I stop selling real estate, when I stop coaching real estate agents, when I stop, you know, speaking on stages, when I stop writing books, when I stop, you know, selling title because I'm a partner in a title company, you know, when I stop doing all these things,
yeah,
I still want to interact with people at a high level because I love conversation.
love it.
You know, and so for me, it's a dream to have this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I also understand. Everybody tells me the majority of restaurants go out of business. It's such a difficult business to run.
It is. It is very difficult, and more if you're not really there. Like to be really successful in the restaurant business, you have to be there as an owner. You have to see what's going on, because working with other people, you know, friends come, you know what? Free drinks go that way. Free food go that way. So if you're not there as an owner, man, your food costs and your liquor costs is boom down. Because there's people that they don't care. You know, they want to please other people. You know, let's say give free drinks because they're gonna get better tips, but then it's hurting the owner. You know, so that happens a lot. So I love that dream, man. I had that dream and I love it, you know, and I did it. We did it was called W Cafe Palette, which basically it was like, man, I would say if you married a tropical smoothie and Starbucks, but
Nice.
So we had the smoothies, we had the beautiful coffee, you know, cappuccino, Cuban coffee. We have the pastries with the pastelillo de guayaba, the guava paste. We have quesito. We had empanadas de carne, pollo. We did Cuban sandwiches, Philly cheesesteak. It was like a Latin American cafe. All wooden pallets, really nice vibe with positive messages everywhere. I mean, it was a nice place to go in Palm Coast, you know?
Where was this, in Palm Coast?
Palm Coast, Florida, near the beach, like 7 minutes from the beach.
Nice.
And then my brother still has his. My brother, he's an executive chef that also had a dream to open his restaurant. So he has his restaurant right now. So if one day you're in Palm Coast, go visit him. It's full Puerto Rican food. It's called El Pollo Colorado. So you walk in, you sit down, and now he remodeled. The whole restaurant has all these cartoons from these famous cartoonists in Puerto Rico.
Right.
From all our celebrities. So you got Benicio del Toro, you got Tito Trinidad, Tito Puente, you know, all these beautiful, you know, things from our country, right? Cartoons on the table. So it's a really fun place.
Oh, that's incredible, man. That's
you incredible. Got the arroz con gandule, pernil, carne frita, mofongo, you know.
Wow,
yeah,
man.
You're salivating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, food is my vice, bro. I love to eat, man.
Me too, man.
So what ended up happening with that restaurant? Obviously, this is post music, post hospitality,
yes,
post everything.
So we were there working it. You know, I wanted the reason I opened it. One of the things I wanted to have weekends off. I wanted to have Saturday, so we didn't open Saturday or Sundays. This place was open from Monday to Friday, breakfast and lunch, not even dinner. It was just something I wanted to do that keep my my things running, you know, my responsibilities, and have more time with my family. Just have Saturday and Sunday to go to the beach, do whatever we wanted. We also did catering, which were really good. But after a year, we decided to move to Charlotte. So I was able to, you know, get somebody and take over and sell it to them, train them on how to run it. But you can train somebody on how to do things. That place went down in a few months. So
Oh
they
no.
didn't keep our recipe. They didn't keep our standards. It was just people were texting me and emailing me like, bro, your place is not the same place. So that's what
Oh,
happened.
that's horrible, man.
Yeah.
That's
But
horrible.
I was able to
That
get over
happens.
it.
That happens more times than we'd like to admit, right? You got a favorite restaurant that you go to, and then it's under new management, and then everything changes, and you go, "Man, what happened, dude? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm used to. Even if
No.
it's still good, by the way, even
Yeah.
if it's still good food, it's what you're not used to anymore. It's not the reason why you would go to this restaurant, you know.
Mhm.
And so it defeats the whole purpose of having that restaurant, you know,
Yep.
or going to that restaurant. Man, it's so the restaurant. I find it interesting that you didn't open Saturday and Sunday. Like I know you wanted to spend time with your family, but do you think that might have hurt the bottom line of the business?
Absolutely. But now, oh yeah. I mean, if I would have opened Saturday, 7 days of the week, it would have done better, of course. But also
Yeah,
it would have
Sunday
been,
brunches and
yeah, yeah. But at that point, my mindset, I personally just wanted to be at home on the weekends. That's something.
so I want listeners to think about this, right? So
Yep.
you seem to be like the type of person that is willing to sacrifice work, time, and money for your family.
Always, always. Families first. That's one of the things that I joined Keller Williams. Why? Because it's their motto is like God, family, then business. When I read that, I'm sold. That's me.
Yeah, yeah,
God, family, then business. I mean,
yeah.
my motivation. Of course, we want to make money. We want to have better lives. We want to have better trips, better vacations. But my goal in life is to be with my family, man. Like
Right.
I like to be with my daughters. I like to be with my wife. I know a lot of people that don't want to come back home. If they can work another 24 hours with them, they will. But me, I can't wait to go back home, man. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, but I do work like, I operate three businesses. And so for
Mhm.
me, I do work a lot, but thankfully this is my home office,
Oh,
so I'm here. Like if I need to go downstairs and be with family, I'm here.
yes.
So that, families become, and I say has become super important to me over time, because when I first got out of the Marine Corps and I was super into the business, my imagination said that I needed to do this business 24/7 in order for it to be successful. And over time you learn, right? And so now when I coach my clients, there's a really big coaching section that we go through that talks about time management and time valuement, right? And
Mhm.
so time management being how you manage your time to have a successful business and still have a successful life.
Oh yeah.
Time valuement is putting the things that bring tremendous value to your life at a high level, right? And so we spend significant time really digging this out, really understanding this, really tapping into the important things in our
Mhm.
businesses and in our lives, right? And so that really has become a focus in my coaching, because if I can run three businesses and I can travel sometimes half the month and still find time to make it to my kids' volleyball games or read a book or hang out with my wife for date nights or like whatever, even impromptu. Like last night my wife and I were like, hey, we need to sit down and talk a little bit about our businesses, and so we can like kind of throw some stuff on the board, and I was like, so you want to just go out and do that, and unfortunately I had a heart attack a week ago, so my wife was like, no, we're gonna do it at home, but but normally we make it a date night, even though sometimes we're talking about our businesses.
Yeah.
We make it a date night,
Yeah.
and people, I think people have a hard time differentiating that. They listen to this lie about work-life balance, which there is no balance. It's a very simple equation. The more you work, the less time you spend with family. The more you spend time with family, the less time you'll work. They both have their positive and negative consequences, right? And so we talk about this at a high level because it's important for people to understand that number one, consequence is not a bad word. It's
Mhm.
just action, or it's the reaction to your action, right? You spend a lot of time with family, you're going to have a great family relationship. That means you're less time at work, you might make less money, but that's not always true. And so what I've been thankfully able to do, and I'm sure you understand at a high level, is teach my clients how to make the most of the time that they're at work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So they, so they can make real money and still have real family time. It's crazy.
Love it. That's actually one of my resolutions. Like, I'm like mindset, stick to that resolution. Like, when I'm at work, I'm at work. Like, I'm gonna take advantage of that time and try not to get distracted. I get easily distracted. So I'm like, no, like my morning, from 9 to 12, my lead gen, that's sacred. I have to do that and nothing else, and,
Right.
and when you do that and not walk around, and you're more productive, instead of being busy, you're really productive, so that's my focus this year, just to really concentrate and focus. When I'm working, I'm working. When I'm at home, I'm at home. When I'm talking with my daughters, I'm talking with my daughters. Not thinking of the deal or thinking of like the vibrating of the phone, which as real estate agents, that's constant at the top. So, and it's hard to do. I mean, I'm learning every day and I'm practicing, because it's hard to do when you have a deadline, or when you have the due diligence period and the other agent is calling and you need to answer, but you're in the middle of dinner and he's like, oh my God, but I'm here. I'll wait until like we're done, and then
finish the dinner, and then nothing's going to change in that 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you a pro tip. You ready for this?
Yes.
Get rid of this thing.
Nugget. This thing?
No, your other arm. Get rid of that thing, bro.
The clock?
Yeah, that's an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah.
That means you get your messages there, you get your calls there.
Yeah, I know it.
There. Get rid of that shit, bro.
Yeah.
Because I bet you that at dinner you still go like this.
Mm-hmm. It's like, do I do it or not?
Right. So there's this.
I'm learning lately.
Yeah, there's this theory, right? Or not a theory. There's a scientific proven fact that if you and I are in this meeting right now and I'm holding my cell phone, even if I'm not looking at it, if I'm just simply holding my cell phone, it tells you that I'm not present.
Yep.
Right. If I take my cell phone, you and I go out to dinner, and I take my cell phone and I take it out of my pocket and I put it on the table, I give the phone importance, because this is now on the table between you and I. So it tells you, as my guest at dinner, that I am not 100% with you, because my phone might ring. Right.
Yep.
Now, some people go, okay, but I turn my phone upside down and I face it down. Doesn't matter. We can all hear the buzz.
Yep.
Right. So then people, they have put on these watches to think that for a moment it will take away from the distraction, right? You could keep your phone in your pocket because you're going to get it on your watch. The problem is that your guest sees you go like this. Bring your arm up to your face, right? They see you. Like, for those of us that are not watching the video and listening, what I'm doing is I'm picking up my arm and I'm looking at my watch, right? And so when I do that, the message that I send to the person at the table, whether it be your family, your friends, your business partners, clients, the message that I send them is, you just became second place.
Totally agree with you. Yep. That's why before I sat down, my phone is down there, put it airplane mode, boom, no distraction. That way this doesn't vibrate, no nothing. So I'm like, I'm here. I said, I'm going to be in the podcast. I'm on the podcast, Yeah. I hate that when people go out to dinner and in fact, the server's going to bring you food, and people leave the phone right there in the plates, man. It's like, where do you think the server's going to put your plate? Like, move that thing around,
That's my kids. That's my kids, bro.
And then they stay like, and the server's there with the plate, like, yeah, where can I put it?
Move your phone, man. That's so funny, crazy. Bro. It's so funny. All right, so you brought up something really cool. You said, my focus right now is working on my dreams, working on my gift, and sharing that opportunity with people. Helping people, helping them understand, working on their dreams, working on their gift. What's your dream? What's your gift? What are you working on right now?
Man, I really come from, I really want to help people, honestly, man. I really want to like help people, like you said, not only like right now I'm in real estate. Yeah. We're not selling. I saw your video and I loved it when he said, we're not selling houses, right? We're helping people get their house, right?
Yeah.
I love that. And I'm like, hey, that's how I think. That's true. We're helping people. You know, we're connecting people to other people that are going to make that dream for them real. I mean,
Yes.
my slogan for my company, I mean, I'm MDR, which is Michael Donato Rivera, but it's also making dreams real, you know?
Nice.
And it, I mean, it wasn't even planned, honestly. It was just
Right.
like, yeah, it happened. So making dreams real. And because I've always been a dreamer, man. I've always been a person that I believe that you need to find what your gift is. You know, what are you really passionate about? Because it's really sad to see people working 30, 40 years of their life doing something that they don't love and they hate to go do it. That's why they say if you do what you love, you never work, you know, something like
Right.
that. Right. But I mean, you can find something that is tied up to your gift. So what's your gift? I don't know. I know mine, you know. I know that I'm connected deeply with sound, with music. So how do I make that into my business nowadays, you know? I have here in my office all my setup, you know. I love making the videos, putting songs behind it, you know, connecting that, having a ambience behind when I'm with clients talking at my office, you know. I like to put a nice mellow music to create an atmosphere when we're doing the presentation. So I know it's music. I know it's helping people. I know it's like not really focused on like what I can get out of the deal, you know, like more like how can we make this happen? I mean, we come down sometimes just to make it happen, you know, and like help people out. Like, you know, I don't mind giving a discount at all, you know?
Yeah.
Some people don't do that. They're like, no, I don't give a discount. I don't care.
Well,
You know
hey,
what?
listen, Bubba, we're in a new world now with the new NAR ruling. So
And I've been doing that because not everybody, you know, it's very, you know, can spare 10 grand, 15 grand out of the pocket, you know?
yeah.
So I think, you know, people need to really find what they're passionate about. And if you're not in a job that you're passionate about and you're every day sitting down, clocking in, clocking out, and like, oh my God, I can't, man, you're missing out on something really nice, and
You
your
know,
life is just gonna pass.
I have some theories about that because I'm very adamant in spreading the message that entrepreneurship is a very difficult thing. It's not easy. It sucks. Like it really does. Like
Yeah.
I met an agent, not an agent, I'm sorry. I met a coach the other day who has a podcast called Entrepreneurship Sucks. You know, and I always refer, you know, in my book. So, you know, I wrote my last book. It's here on the board, but in The Truth About Freedom, or The Truth About Failure, I'm sorry, I wrote a book called The Truth About Failure. And in this book, I comment on Elon Musk and his interview when asked, what would you tell young people who are coming into the world of entrepreneurship, who want to be business owners and entrepreneurs? And his immediate response was, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. He said, it sucks. It's horrible. It's late nights. It's stress. It's like the people don't deserve this. You don't deserve to go through this. Like that was his response. And I looked at that response and I thought some people are going to look at this and go, that's the worst advice you can give somebody. Why would you tell somebody that? Other people look at that advice and dissect it, right? And so I dissected it because I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I said, some people are going to hear this and quit. And some people are going to hear this and be challenged.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so my message to people is, yeah, you could find what you're passionate about and go do that, but also be prepared that if you're doing this as an entrepreneur, not working for somebody else, but doing it for yourself, if you're doing it as an entrepreneur, you're going to face some difficult times that will sometimes make you feel like your passion sucks, right? Like it can very difficult.
Yeah.
And you know, on the flip side, you could have a job that you really don't like, but also doesn't really affect your life one way or another, but pays you really well so that in your off time you could focus on your passion.
That's true too. Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah. You gotta, see how what works for me will not work for you. I mean, everybody has a different, path, journey, and what success looks for me. It doesn't really necessarily is like my team workers or my teammates success looks like.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody thinks they're going to be successful when they reach to $1 million.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody says they're successful when they reach $500,000.
Yeah.
So it looks different for everybody. It just
Everybody has a different level. I met a lady that told me success for her was making 60 grand a year. And there's a long story behind that, but once I understood why, it made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
And so everybody's view of it is very different. I remember when I first heard that, though, like my brain immediately went into, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How do you live?
But I'm pretty sure that lady doing the 60 grand is way happier than people making 10 millions a year. So some people making 5 million a year. That there's never enough. That is they're not grateful. That it's like when do you stop?
Yeah.
Like,
and some people, I think some people can be non-grateful. I think other people just wired that way. Like some people are wired in a way where it's just like, listen, if there weren't people wired that way, we wouldn't have Elon Musk trying to colonize Mars, right? Because why? Like, why?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Why? I understand everybody's scared that planet Earth is in trouble, but like, seriously, why?
Like in the example I was saying, like he's passionate about that.
Yeah.
He's multi-billionaire, but he's just thinking about other stuff than money. He's following his passion. There's a lot of like the other way around too. A lot of millionaires that are more humble, more grateful, and happier than people doing 40, 50 grand a year. There are people doing 50 grand a year that are like walking like they're all that, and not humble. So you
get both sides of the coin. Absolutely. You're right, man. I think humility and being humble and being appreciative and grateful are things that come from the human mind and the human heart. And we oftentimes associate income to that. When you meet somebody that's super rich and is super humble, you go, wow, he's so humble. But we would never say that about anybody who's broke. They can have the same persona, the same personality. They could do for others. They could care for the sick. They could be, Mother Teresa's right hand, and you still, because it's surprising that somebody who's a billionaire is so humble, And then equally, we'll look at a billionaire who is arrogant and forward, and we would go, wow, he's so arrogant, right? But then here's the negative, right? So the poor person who's arrogant, you go, wow, he's so arrogant. We never give the poor person humble. We'll always give them arrogant. Why is he like that? He doesn't even have money. Like, why? You know what I mean? And so I think it's, unfortunately, human nature to criticize more than praise. And it's up to us. It's up to us to find the praise.
Definitely. And money, I think, I believe it does amplify more of what you already are.
Yeah.
If you're a humble person and a generous person, when you got a lot of money, you're going to be more generous and maybe more humble. But if you're an arrogant without money, when you get money, you're going to be more arrogant. It just amplifies more of what you are. But it all depends. People have life changes, situations. Some people reflect and like, what am I doing? Like, this is not right. People change. I believe in people.
I mean, listen, I changed. When my wife first met me, I was arrogant as hell. And by the way, I never looked at it as arrogance. I looked at it as confidence. I was very confident in my ability to do things. And so I never showed that any humility. And also I was coming out of 9 years of the Marine Corps, and I had made it like according to my standards. And so I wasn't you know, in the Marine Corps, we don't walk around patting each other in the back saying good job, you know, like you have a job, do your job. If you do your job, then you get to stay in the Marine Corps and get paid. Like it just, you know what I mean? We don't look at it as like, wow, you did the bare minimum to get an income, you know? And so it was very hard for me over time to be able to find humility. And then from the stage, it was even worse because, you know, I've been speaking on stages for years. And my wife sits down with me one day and she goes, you need to get on stage and find more humility. And I was like, what the are you talking about? You know, like I get on that stage and I spit fire and everybody agrees. And she goes, you'll impact more people if you tell people that you are also human. Mm-hmm. And that was very impactful for me. And I started practicing it and I started testing it by myself, you know, writing my speeches in a way that it tells stories from my life or client stories, you know? And when I started to do that, when I started to share my experiences, people said, oh my God, this guy on the stage went through that? Wow. You know, and he's still here, you know? Yeah. And so it impacted people differently, deeper, you know? Yeah. And that was a lot of fun to see because, you know, I don't know if you know our mission statement at our company, but our mission statement is to impact the lives and businesses in a positive manner of over 1 million people. And in order for us to do that, we have to be able to send the message with tremendous impact. You know, it's funny because I was watching something on Martin Luther King the other day. And I remember thinking to myself, listening to the way he spoke and listening to the way he delivered the message on Capitol Hill. I remember thinking to myself, if anyone else gave that speech, it would not have been effective. If anyone, same words. Yeah. If anyone else gave that speech, it would not have been effective. It had to be him. It had to be in that style with that passion, that persona. And that's why I created that impact, you know?
That was his heart. That was his gift. He was passionate about that.
Right.
That was one of the greatest speech of all time, I would say. So
yeah.
Great thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I met you at the AC Hotel that you're talking about, talking on stage. And I remember when you came out of stage. When I go to a conference, I'm in the conference. I want to listen. I want to learn. So I saw you, and automatically I connected with you. You said, "Boricua, olvídate. Let's do it." You know. But then another story that I really connected with you, that I related, was in the Marines when you started hustling with the club owners and getting
the music business,
doing music and doing that. So I'm like, man, that was me in my 18, 22 years old. I was connecting with club owners, bringing bands in there, charging the ticket in the entrance, and he keeps the bar. So I remember that, you know, when you came to I think it was the Adelante conference that we did.
It was.
With Nav and and all that.
Yep. That was a great conference, man.
It was awesome. I loved it.
Super blessed that they brought me in to be the keynote. It was a lot of fun. But you know, I started telling, those are the stories that I started telling to create bigger impact. You know, so people could know, like I was like up here, man. Like there wasn't a soul in Hiroshima, Japan that didn't know who I was. and then for it to just be ripped away from me in one meeting.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. I just went from making tons of money part-time, you know, making my annual salary in the Marine Corps on a Saturday night. You know what I mean? And then blowing it because I thought it was gonna last forever. You know, so
that's what we do.
Listen, I was young. I thought it would never end. I was becoming the club kingpin of Japan. You know, I like in my brain, I was like, wow.
You were walking like Conor McGregor.
Yeah. I looked like McGregor walking in the club, you know. And in one meeting, in a matter of minutes, it was completely taken away from me.
Did they? I don't remember if you said it. Did they give you a choice, or they said,
No, there was no choice because I was an active duty Marine stationed in Japan, and there was a Marine Corps regulation that said that we could not work in an off-base establishment that served alcohol.
Oof.
And so you can't run a nightclub without alcohol, you know? And so that just killed the entire, like, there was no way for me to do it because, you know, I could get any job. I could open up any other business in Japan. I could do anything I want as long as it doesn't serve alcohol.
Yeah.
But I had already made my name in this position. What was I going to do? Open up an ice cream shop now, you know?
Yeah.
And by the way, potentially I probably could have, you know, and done really well. But at that point, I was like, look, dude, I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm not trying to mess up my Marine Corps career, you know, like situation like we were discussing earlier. In one hand, I have my Marine Corps career who pays me, you know, I was probably making $30,000 a year, or my club life that was paying me $30,000 to $40,000 a night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, every time we were open, which was twice a month. We were only open twice a month, every other Saturday. And so if I would have went with the club life, I could have been open every Saturday and then every Friday and Saturday. And that would have been game changer. But I decided my Marine Corps career was more important.
Awesome, man. And thank you for your service.
Thanks, brother. Yeah. And so I took the lesser paying job with lesser fame and notoriety, and like going back to nobody knows who you are. You're just another sergeant in the Marine Corps, you know? Yeah. But that was more important to me. My Marine Corps career was more important to me. My, you know, not that I retired because I got out in 9 years, but what I was doing was important to me, my soul, my personality, my patriotism. It was important to me, you know?
You're the right choice for sure.
Right. Oh, for sure. 100 million times over. God knows what would have happened to me over there. You know, had I stayed in that industry and stayed in Japan full time, you know, who knows?
Yeah, I love that conference. And after you were done on stage, I came to you to introduce myself. I remember. Yeah.
I remember.
Connected, follow Instagram. So thank you, man.
Yeah, huge, man.
Going back, something that came to my mind is the comparison. Nowadays, people are comparing themselves too much. Business.
Too much.
And man, you know, that's gonna make you sad and depressed, you know, because other people operate at other levels. You know, you're in your own journey, you know. I work at Keller Williams Valentine. You know, I'm part of the Guerra and Associate teams. Big shout out to Mike Guerra, you know, our team leader. We have a great team. We are the Latino team in that office, you know, and we all feed off each other, you know. Some people are doing better than others, but like I said, don't compare yourself, you know. Yeah. I see it as you're doing that. Okay, that's motivation. You know, that's what are you doing? Let's do a mastermind. Share some things with me. That way I can, you know, maybe do the next step, you know. But don't compare yourself to other. Everybody's in their own journey, you know. Everybody has different goals. So what success looks to you, it doesn't look the same to me.
Yep. All right. Listen, I really appreciate the time that you've given me. I'm taking notes, because I want to make sure that the content that goes under this video and under this podcast goes a long way. Is your music on Spotify?
Yes.
All right, cool. Yes. So after we hang up, so everybody hears this, after we finish this podcast, I want you to text me that link.
I will.
Or to your profile. Because what I'd like to do is I'm going to post the link to where people can find you in Valentine and you know, North and South Carolina. I'll post a link to your website, stuff like that, as you know, a big thank you for being a guest on the show. But additionally, you know, I want to go ahead and put you know, your music stuff in there so people can relate to it. Dude, I have so many ideas for you that's out of control. Like how you use your music and your real estate together. And you know, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. I think, you know, you have something that maybe a lot of people don't have, and you have that particular talent. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that real estate agents do is they focus so much on selling houses that they forget they're selling themselves. And you know, people need to be able to relate to you. And I think that a tremendous amount of people will relate to you through music, as they do in the church, and you see it for yourself. And I wish you tremendous success, man. Tremendous success.
Plans do. To you, brother. I really appreciate the time, the invitation. I loved a lot our time together and talking about life, about other things other than real estate. We talk a little bit about business, but we talk more about us. And I think that's what people really want to nowadays. I mean, imagine my Facebook and my Instagram, only houses.
It's boring, man. It's boring. Nobody cares about that, man. It's super boring, bro.
I'm all about be yourself,
Even right now, I'm frustrated with my Instagram because my Instagram has too many podcasts on it. And I'm like, I need to post something else on there, man. I need to get some other stuff on there,
Yeah.
And I was talking to my marketing guy. I was like, I need to get some pictures of me, like, doing stuff. So my wife, sometimes she'll pop in the office and take pictures of me doing the podcast and things like that, and it's interesting. It's a lot of fun,
Hey, we learn every day. Social media change all the time, and we gotta be fresh every day, doing content, maybe funny, maybe in doing instructional videos, a little bit of everything, and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for doing this with me. I greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've made it this far, we're like 54 minutes into the podcast, by the way. So,
love it.
That means that the conversation was incredible. I enjoyed it. I hope that you did too. And for those of you that are still listening right now, it means you enjoyed it too. So go ahead and subscribe, like, post it, share it. Write a comment. We're going to make sure that when this is, we're going to make sure that Michael gets a copy of this so that he can tune into the video every once in a while and check the comments and see what's going on. Awesome. And, feel free to reach out to him. He's up in that North Carolina, South Carolina area, close to Charlotte. Dude, thank you.
Appreciate you, man. God bless. And blessing to your family. Feel better, all right?
All right, brother. Everybody else, y'all make sure you stay tuned. If you hit that subscribe button, you're going to know when we're pushing out. Thanks.